So all these people, the prophets, Jesus, and the saints, all went through the same thing with God. The only difference with the prophets was that they couldn't become sinless. So they were always in that stage where they had to be commanded by God. Everything they did. Moses, the whole way through his life, he had to wait for commands from God. He couldn't operate as God because he didn't know who he was yet. He still had his sins. The sins is what keeps us from the truth. The sins is like it's a veil. It says so in the Bible. It's delusion. It's what messes up your mind so you don't know who you are. It's like a wall between you, the flesh, and God, or your image in God. So you don't know Him. You don't know yourself. And so that's what was going on with the prophets. You know, they didn't get to find out who they were. They had faith. God gives faith, we don't make our own faith. God gives faith when He reveals Himself to a person. And so like Noah, can you imagine Noah? Can you imagine this guy? He's the only one on earth that like me right now, that God comes to him, reveals Himself to him. And then he needs to do some commands and stuff to get Noah obedient to Him. He has to get that connection. He's got to get the flesh, that sinful flesh, in total obedience to Him so He can start working through him. So here's Noah. He didn't know who he was, but he knew who God was. He's giving him commands. And he's saying, okay, Noah, we're going to build a boat. Now, the earth back then, before there was oceans, okay, was flat. All there was ponds, little meandering rivers, lots of jacuzzi tubs because they had heat vents all over the earth to let the pressure off the mantle underneath. And we'll get to that maybe in the next video series about the end times, because those things are kind of interesting to know. But so here he is out in the middle of nowhere, listening to God give him commands on how to build this big boat that's going to hold his family and a whole bunch of different animals that God chose to put on the ark. Now, a lot of people think he put all the animals in the world. No, He didn't need to do that. No, there's a lot of fish in the sea. And also there would be well, it doesn't make any difference. There were survivors, okay, of species of animals and fish and things like that. And maybe there was some fish that used to be and they became land animals, evolved to that. But maybe they're supposed to be that way. God put it in His plans to make things happen like that. So maybe evolution isn't so, they're off, way off. But there were probably some species like that converted from water to land. Because I don't think all the animals could fit in a boat. And even then, if they could, they were of each kind. You could take one cat and change that cat into many different kinds of animals. Okay, and just like a dog species, look at all the different dogs we have now. Probably from one dog. So that's but that doesn't matter. Those things don't matter. It's nothing to argue about because we don't know. Nobody's going to know the details on the ark and how many animals were on there, and it's sure not a way to deny God. But a lot of people use that excuse. So anyway, here's Noah building this boat, and I'm sure he had lots of neighbors, people walking by. What are you doing, Noah? And he's telling them, well, I'm told to do this. Can you? I know what he's going through. Believe me, I know what he's going through. Every day I come across with people wondering what I'm saying. And even with this story, people are going, oh my God, he's doing it again. Look at him, he's talking about this ark and about Noah and stuff. And yeah, but I can identify with Noah because I know who God is and I know who myself is. So I can identify Noah before I became the Word, before I knew I was the Word. And so it's a very frustrating, very, very frustrating to be in that situation because God, He's relentless. And He uses humiliation like you wouldn't believe. The power He has is incredible to humble you. You can be up here, just thinking yourself just great, and the next minute you're down on the floor crying like a baby. And nobody's around. Nobody's around. And so His power is incredible. Anyway, so here's Noah getting this ship built. He worked on that thing for years and years. And I'm sure God He had the plans for this boat, so He had to tell Noah everything. Just about everything. So that's why it took so long. And man, the timing was perfect. As soon as he got this boat done, well, God let loose the skies. And then when all that water came down, now people don't understand this, but there was a globe of ice crystals around the earth, encircling it like a light bulb. Okay, this created an atmosphere that was wonderful everywhere on Earth. In Antarctica, they could sit out in your shorts and suntan in the middle of winter. Perfect weather everywhere because of this globe. And then of course the heat vents coming out of the earth, so it's just this warm, moist climate, perfect for our flesh. And no, it was not the kind of earth that you would build an ark with. There was no sense to having this boat built there because there was no place to put it. But it turned out to be just the way God planned it. And that's how God works. He knows everything. He knows to the tiniest little atom in His plan. It's all there. He doesn't miss anything.